Hi, good afternoon to everyone. I'm Ram. It's a big name, so short name is Ram. I'm from Chennai, but I did my master's in Norwegian University of Science and Technology. My co-authors are Ulla Ladre, Fredrik Svalstuen. They are also in the university, and Roar Fosse from Skanska, and Mr. Kalyan Vaidyanathan, who is the CEO of Nadi Information Technologies in Chennai. My topic is last planar system, comparing Indian and Norwegian approaches. Okay, can anyone define what is last planar system? Any ideas? I mean, it's like a very known topic, but can anyone tell the basic definition for last planar system? Anyone? Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. The person who is executing is planning the activities, okay? That's a good start to the session, okay? And last planar system has been in use for more than 20 years, various construction projects, infrastructure projects, name whatever you can. And it's been a big success in the construction industry. It's brought a lot of changes, a lot of positives to the construction industries. And regarding the motivation for this study, last year there was an IGLC paper published, and this paper, from this paper it was found that comparing the population of India and Norway, Norway has a higher interest for lean construction than India. So me personally working with the Indian construction industry for 1 year in Chennai with last planar system, and doing my masters in Norway 2 years and having contacts with the contractors in Norway, it was like a big motivation for me on why not to compare the last planar system between both the countries. It also was like learning between the countries. So if India is doing well, Norway can learn from India. Norway is doing well, India can learn from Norway. So it was like that. And there were 3 research questions that were framed. How is last planar system implemented in India and Norway? What are the different experiences that were gained by the lean consultants from both India and Norway? And this is the best part, the future improvements is not just a normal one, but this is based on the culture of both the countries. We have attempted a cross-cultural comparison, and we have made recommendations based on those cultural aspects. And research methodology. There were 3 methodologies used: case studies, interviews, and document studies. Case studies. In India, 2 cases were studied, and both were from Nadi Information Technologies, and it was 1 marine jetty project and 1 residential project. In Norway, there were 6 cases studied, and it was 2 residential, 2 office buildings, and 2 commercial projects. And 2 contractors were contacted for the projects, 1 Skanska and 1 Vaidike. There were 3 projects from both the contractors. The reason because the difference between the number of cases is because Norway has been using lean practices for a longer time than India, say since 2000s. And the interviews. Lean consultants were interviewed from both the countries in India and Norway, and 4 lean consultants were interviewed in India, 2 in Norway. And they were asked questions about how do you implement a LPS in project, how does a foreman react when you bring LPS into project, and various stakeholders, how do they react when you bring a last planar system into a project. So questions like that. And document studies. So documents in India were generally about how PPC was increased, how productivity was increased, how the cycle time got decreased because of LPS. So those were the main kind of documents that I studied. And the Norwegian documents were mainly, they had handbooks where they explained how last planar system is implemented in the site. So they have made brochures where they give clients and they explain how they implement LPS. So during the literature study of this, for this research, we found a statement that culture has a big say for implementing the last planar system. So we wanted to get a better insight, go in depth and study about this. So we decided to take this study called Hofstede analysis. So Hofstede is a famous author in the field of psychology, and he has listed 6 different cultural dimensions, and he has given scores for each countries based on the 6 cultural dimensions. I'll just give a brief statement about each of the cultural dimensions. First is the power distance. It talks about how equally power is distributed in an organization. Second is the individualism, the extent to which people tend to act as a group or as an individual. The third is a masculinity. Masculinity talks about the assertiveness of the people, how assertive they are in decision making and things like that. Fourth is the uncertainty avoidance. It talks about how people tolerate for ambiguous things and how much they believe in absolute truth and things like that. Long-term orientation is how people connect their past with the current things and the future things. And indulgence is not inside the workplace, it's about outside the workplace. How social people are and how informal people are with their higher officials outside work life. So the basic reason for choosing this analysis is that all the 6 dimensions, we were able to relate it with the different components of LPS. So here, the slide after this will be like, I've presented the implementation style, the experiences, and we have sorry. Yeah, these 6 things, we have related it with the challenges and experiences, and we have found that why these challenges is happening in both the countries. So first we'll look at how a last planner system is implemented in India. In India, so the things I'm going to say here is based on the case studies and interviews only for this research, and it's not general, okay? And okay, the implementation in India. Generally, contractors in India, they don't have a system that is inbuilt with LPS or something like that. So when they have a problem in their project, say cost overruns or time delays, they look upon lean consultants, call them to bring back the projects on track. So that's when LPS comes into play in an Indian construction project. So because of this, the workers in the site, the last planners, they are very unaware of the concepts of LPS, which is like a little bit of drawback while implementing LPS in India. And this third-party lean consultants, when they come into the project, they do like an observation of the site works for about a week to 10 days, and they give 2 reports. One is the as-is report and the to-be report. As-is report talks about the current situation. To-be report talks about the report that can be, the things that can be changed in the site for a better performance. And regarding the implementation, India completely follows a theory, like a textbook implementation style, like how Glenn Ballard has given in the last planner workbook. India follows a implementation strategy like that, like preparing a phase schedules, weekly work plan, lookahead plan, daily plans, everything. And PPC is measured for every week and every day, and reasons for non-completions are noted, and workable backlogs are prepared. Things that are mentioned in the theory, they are mostly executed in the site. So now regarding the experiences in India, first thing is there is this organizational challenges in India, where generally contractors are the ones who hire the lean consultants into a project. So the client side do not support these contractors when there is some problems or things like that. So there has been a big challenge, and it limits the ability of the lean consultants to prepare to execute last planner system components on site. And there is this socio-cultural challenges where the entry-level engineers who execute things in the site, they are not given freedom to say no to activities. So the reason that because of this, they cannot make reliable commitments. So that is one big challenge faced by the lean consultants here. And during the look-ahead plan meetings, people here are really good in planning for a week or a day. But when you ask them to plan for 6 weeks ahead or 8 weeks ahead, they find it really difficult to do that. That was a big challenge faced in the Indian projects. And this one, the constraint analysis were done, everything was okay, but there were instances from the case projects and interviews where the site workers used to analyze everything, but they come at the last moment and say during the execution that I don't have this material. So there were challenges like this too. And okay, and regarding the Norway implementation, it has been in use since 2000. Vedike and Skanska are the predominant contractors. They also use a textbook style of implementation. And Skanska uses last planner system with location-based management system. And Vedike uses last planner system with takt time. So they not only use the last planner system, they kind of mix the other lean tools. And regarding the experiences in Norway, the subcontractors are very traditionally, they are used to traditional ways, so moving them to a lean practice was a hard time. And the same as in India, making people think ahead was a big challenge. And Norwegian people, from the interviews it was found out that they needed a point of coordination, like a center guy who coordinates with everyone. So that was a big challenge too. And this was an attempt made by us. So these are the projects that were 6 projects from Norway and 2 from India. And the top ones are these are the LPS components. And the lean consultants who worked with each of the projects were asked to give colors for each of the components in their projects. So green denotes that the component was fully implemented, yellow denotes partially implemented, and red denotes it was not implemented. So we inferred that Norway, even though they have like a longer history, they have not attempted like every lean components, but India is like trying everything. And this part is where the challenges has been compared with the cultural dimensions. I'll just go through it quickly. Power distance. Power distance, as I said, how equally power is distributed. So we can see that the socio-cultural challenges in India, where the workers are not allowed to say no. And the individualism thing. As I said, Norwegian people, they are like very individualistic, concerned about their work. They need a center point of coordination. And India, they kind of appreciate more than Norway to work as a team. I forgot to mention one thing. This Hofstede analysis, these are the scores for India and Norway. So this is for India and this is for Norway. And this is the 6 different components. So these inferences are based on these scores. And masculinity, in India, the decision making is so assertive only by the higher authorities. But Norwegians, they consider the opinions of all the ones that are involved in the project. And uncertainty avoidance, like I said, the constraint analysis done by the workers, they are a bit reluctant about things, a little bit hesitant, okay, we'll do this later, things like that. But Norway did not have problems like that. And long-term orientation, like I said, to do a look-ahead plan, to think in a long-term perspective, it was a difficult ask for both the countries. And indulgence, it was found that Norwegians, out of their office work or something, they are pretty cool and informal with their higher authorities or something like that. India, on the other hand, is not that common that you can have a very informal tone to your higher authorities outside the work life. And these are the recommendations made from the things that were found out based on the cultural things. So for Norway, we thought of using a bottom-up approach for LPS. This says that because of hard planning, 6 weeks was hard, so they can try to plan for a week or a day for a period of time, and then slowly climb up to 6 weeks or 8 weeks after a period of time. And another thing is that the higher management should not disturb the guy, like a guy who is planning for 6 weeks should not disturb the guy who is planning for a week. So that creates a bit of, it's not good. And as we saw in the matrix, Norway has not tried several components. So we have recommended that they try the daily stand-up meetings. They take a look at they measure PPC, but they didn't have a backup of their PPC. So we recommended that they should have a backup of their PPC and they should do the workable backlog and things like that. And for India, the first main thing is the execution engineer. He should be allowed to say no for, not no for everything, but realistic yes and realistic no's. And the owners should try to be less masculine. That is not being so assertive. Just one more slide, I'll just complete, yeah. Not being so assertive on things. Try everyone to voice out so that they can hear out different opinions and things like that. And it was a learning from Norway that they do a short-term coordination between contractors and subcontractors, and a coordination between owners and contractors for a better coordination. And conclusion is like, if you take India and Norway, Norway has a very good system, but the problem is a little bit with the people. They are a bit individualistic in nature. They try to do only their work, which is a bit of setback for them. But when you come to India, people are really hardworking and things like that, but the system is a bit of fault in India. So there are both goods and bads in both the countries. So we recommend that the Lean Construction Institute or Lean Construction community should consider the cultural preconditions if they want to implement LPS in a particular country.
Last sentence.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.